first thing I'm going to show you is I'm just going to jump right into this and talk about how in the last year we made it from a standalone web app where you start and you have to do everything in our web app in order to get the benefit, which is generating high quality, CD quality Revit models out of the back end of it, to something where you can start in any app and use us as a mediator in between whatever way you're starting the project and getting your production deliverables out in Revit from the back end. So in this case, I'm showing you the integration where we turned it into a SketchUp extension. We showed this at the Worldwide Trimble Conference in Las Vegas last year. And so I'll describe how we start with a catalog. So just briefly, how we create a catalog by uploading data from Revit into the Schema cloud, what it looks like in the Schema cloud, and then how we use that to resolve a project. However, we're not going to start in Schema, we're going to start in SketchUp. 2 weeks ago, we released starting in Rhino, so we'll show you Rhino a little later. But in this case, we start the project in SketchUp, and then we invoke Schema as an extension to SketchUp, and then we can synchronize live data back and forth between SketchUp and Schema. So in this case, where Schema wants to be the best in class in this tool chain is in the block and stack. So we invoke a generator to lay out the floor. We're actually showing you the full workflow in Schema to resolve this floor plate. In real time, it takes 4 minutes. We double speeded it so you don't have to wait 4 minutes, but it takes 2 minutes. But basically, this is all the edits you do to resolve this floor plate. This is a residential project. Last year, we showed on stage a school project. We've done hotels. We've done all sorts of different projects, storage units, retail, all kinds of things. In this case, we're also going to do something called morphing here, where in the end, we have this angled wall condition, and none of the chunks of the buildings that we have in our library match that shape. So we're actually going to take the ones that are close and then ask Schema to fit them into that shape so that we preserve the layout logic, but now make a new set of chunks of the building that fit this particular project. Once we have our layout, we can mirror that into SketchUp at various levels of detail. So in this case, it's LOD 200, just the unit blocks. And we're doing this so we can do, say, diffusion rendering in SketchUp so that we have a client presentation. We can get some ideas about facade or feel or those sorts of things. In this case, feedback we got from the presentation was the top of the building has some pretty good views. We should redo it with some better units to improve the revenue generation of the pro forma. So now we've redesigned the building in Schema. And again, now we're, instead of doing LOD 200, we're going to do high LOD 350 views of the data, because now we're going to mirror that into SketchUp, because we actually built this off a user workflow where we had a principal at a firm designing a project between SketchUp and Schema. And that principal liked to do their curtain wall design in SketchUp. So how can we enable that? Well, we mirror in all the things that we just developed at 350 in Schema into SketchUp, and now in SketchUp, this principal can resolve his preliminary curtain wall. And again, since we're an extension, they can mirror the curtain wall design back into Schema to coordinate it with the plan that was laid out in Schema. And like anything in Schema, our one big rule is whatever you make in Schema using these flexible 3D puzzle pieces that we have goes directly into Revit as native Revit objects. So it's not translated. In fact, your firm standards and your types of assemblies and families and all that are embedded in the models we generate. So you can't really tell them from ones that have been created by hand in your office, except for the fact that they usually don't have all the same mistakes.